kingdom in the sky and the kingdom in your heart. You got the key to reach every dream. See, you had it from the start. See, you're strong enough to beat every challenge, good enough to reach every palace. And with the team, you can do anything. I mean, everything within everything. Climbing every mountain, swimming every sea. Nobody can ever take a spot. It was made for you because you got a heart. If you got my back, I got yours. And through everything, we'll break forward. See us running through every door. Are you ready for what's in store? They will say that you'll never be filling you with dark energy. Enemies will eventually turn into a chain of memories. Those memories have a tendency to break every wall. Whether short or tall, that's your destiny. Every step is a path you take to your legacy. Here's the key to your destiny. Open doors like it's sesame. Even those without a heart still has a form of identity. Times might be helpless and dark without a doubt, but what's inside will never die, and you gotta try. Protect your kingdom. Protect your kingdom. Protect your kingdom. Protect your kingdom. Got friends in different places with many different faces, and the more you meet along the way is a team of many graces. Whether big or small, you got a king strong. Take down the one that controls them all. Take the fall, no, take my hand and I'll lift you up. I won't give up. Reach the highest mountain, never let them down. Help along the way, help you reach the crown. See, these memories include all of us, and these broken pieces we built the trust, made it strong, made it last, making sure they don't become the past. They will say that you'll never be filling you with dark energy. Enemies will eventually turn into a chain of memories. That power comes from inside you, strong enough to fix anything. So anyone that says otherwise is a nobody, destroyed mentally. Here's the key to your destiny. Open doors like it's sesame.
Hey everybody. Hope you've all had a great weekend. Let's see. Mine has been pretty uneventful, but not, I mean, can't complain. I had a nice Mother's Day, so that's always good. But today, so I had a chance to work on some of the server code during the weekend, which I was glad because I want to try to speed through it so we can get to some more fun stuff. Unfortunately, I kind of left it on a bug, so I'll quickly explain what's going on. And then we're going to have to do some debug. So, the client, basically it submits the lobby parameters for this game, which will be just 2 players, one's an AI. And that's when it would send like what mods the game is going to use and so on. And the server would record it. And then the client, would then send a ready check that's ready to move on. And since it's the only player, the server should just let it through, but it's not. So we need to look and see why that is. So first of all, so we saw that the server sent this connection status message, which happened after we set the lobby parameters, which means that something has changed. Either our client slot has opened or closed. And so I think it might be nice if we have a better debug message right here, so that's what I'm going to try and do now. Also, if you remember, we used to have the connections class, which would like match a connection ID with a client on the server. And then we had a separate class called the server config, which kept track of like which client slots were open. And I kind of just combined them because it was starting to get a little cumbersome to have 2 different objects. And I don't think it'll really cause any problems. The reason I had kept it separate is because, like, in the future we might want to have, like, what do you call it? People that will just watch a game, an observer. And I was thinking that they wouldn't need to have a client slot on the server, but I think the easy way to fix that would just be to have like observer slots, so it's not that big of a deal. And anyway, that's far in the future, so. Anyway, so let's first start on the connection status message. And we had this, but the problem is it always assumes that there's two connections, and so it throws errors. So we're going to need to have this class called the string builder. Is nice because it's basically lets you create a variable length string. So first you do something like this. Okay, and then for each client, okay. Okay, so how do we want to format it? I guess let's put parenthesis. So you can do this append format, which is fine. And we'll say string is null or empty for. Okay, so I guess we need to get the client object real quick. So if the username is not set, then we'll have set this an unknown. And then C connected. Alright, so that should some nice formatting there. And then we'll say if I is less than clients length minus 1, then we know there's going to be one more client after this, so we can add a comma. Actually, we'll just do a space. Then we just need the closing bracket. And then to turn the string builder into just a normal string, you just call the toString method. Alright, so now let's see what the game prints out over here for us. Okay, so connection change, editor connected, unknown disconnected. Okay, so that is actually what we want, because the second player is supposed to be an AI, and so it wouldn't have this user. And obviously it's not connected because it's going to be run on the host. Okay, so let's take a look at the ready check helper and see what's going on here. Maybe we can actually just print out a log of the client connections. That might be nice. In fact, I can probably just copy most of this code over. Okay, so this is let's do a toString for the actual client itself. This can just be a string format. And we'd want the state, the username and the connection ID. So, and then let's do the string is null or empty. Pinned format, and we just pass the client toString. I gotta change that to count because it says list and not an array. Okay, now where should we? I guess we'll print it whenever we call this check already. Debug log connections toString. Let's see what state the connections are on the server. Okay, so taken, editor 0, and then none and unknown. Okay. So that is fine, that's exactly what we want, but for some reason the ready check should return true because the taken, so maybe this is still giving a problem. Let's say debug or client not ready. Let's see what that says. Client not ready 0. Okay. Connection status. Oh, it doesn't even fire this though after the client sends this ready check, which is a little strange. Server phase. Does the server state go to the lobby? Maybe that's the problem. Server phase init. Okay, maybe it never changes to the lobby. So it's supposed to be right there. Let's see. Which... that's interesting. Oh, game phase. Okay, so that is that right? Let's see. Okay, so this says play phase, but I think it's actually supposed to be the game phase. Let's rename this to main phase or something. I think that is a little more or less confusing. Okay, so the reason that was a problem is because the server just wasn't even accepting the ready check because it thought it was in the wrong phase. But did it still not do anything? Start server. Because that didn't change it actually. Oh, because that said main phase, it should be play phase. Or, it said play phase, it should be main phase. I said it backwards there. So let's see. On start server, did it still not change? Okay. We've got a bunch of random debug in here. Let's try and clean it up. Okay, client connection seeking, that's fine. This is ready check, saying it changed. What's this? Okay, that's just trying to get an open slot. Client not ready. Okay, that's fine. Oh. Okay, so what I'm looking for is right here on start server, we set the phase, so and then on the server controller, this should fire. Main phase, server connection watcher, lobby ready check. Yeah, it seems like it's correct, so why is it? Server play phase. Okay, so I'm using the wrong thing here actually. So server. Okay, yeah, it doesn't even have the init. It just has none. Okay, so that I guess was the problem. So now it says phase lobby. Okay, but it's still not doing anything. Message type. Maybe I'm not setting this correctly. Yeah, that's probably it. Actually, we should look. Ready check. Oh, see, it says type none right there. Yeah, I should have seen that before. So I need to go here where I send the ready check message back on the client. Yeah, this is a silly mistake. Okay, so the lobby. Okay, and now this, we see the server changed the loading and the message went back. Connections taken. Did it delete the other slot for some reason? Open unknown. Okay, what's this message? Oh, yeah, that's for validation, that's good. So editor connected. I don't think we need this anymore. And let's, instead of putting this every time it calls check already, oops, that's not what I wanted to do. have this connection status messenger, which sends that message whenever there's a change, so we can actually just put it right here. Connections take an editor. So the weird thing, oh no, that's fine. But after the set lobby parameters, I feel like that should change the connections. But maybe it's because we send this ready check, we don't wait long enough. Like the ready check gets there before the parameters change. How should we do that actually? Well, I think for now we'll just have a timer, but it's something to keep in mind when we do the actual lobby, that probably before we send the ready check, we should wait to get a response from the server that it received our changes. In fact, let me put a little note on the diagram. If you remember these from last week. Okay, so I got the lobby. Okay, so I'd have to write something else, but I'm not waiting for received parameters response from server. So here we'd also say excuse me, when we receive this message from the server, we'd also set like received parameter. I guess I can set received. Okay, I know this is not, I mean, it should be a little more complicated, but I just want to do this real quick. Okay, so, but how we'll do it for now is we'll just put a little timer, I think. Let's see if this really is the problem. So timer plus equals, we're going to say delta time. If timer greater than, okay, we'll wait 3 seconds. I think the reason this might be a problem is because here, I think we only accept the message if we're in the lobby state. So if we got the ready message too quickly, then we might not receive the other one. Oh, did that work right? Let's see, so it still says it's taken editor 0. Okay, so that might not have been the bug, but I mean, it's still a good idea. Validation. Yeah, so right here where we set the lobby parameters, it should also trigger this connections change. Let's look here. match slots. So I guess first we should make sure this is even being called. Debug long match slots. And I think I'll just lower this timer to half a second. Okay, so did we get... Oh yeah, we never even got the match debug line, so it's not even getting that far. So let's see. So either it's saying that this isn't the host, or the phase isn't correct, but we know that's not it, because it says server phase lobby. Oh, but see, we did the play phase again. Okay. Wait, why does... Oh, okay, never mind. I was gonna say the play phase has a lobby, but no, that's not it. So now it seemed to get farther. Okay, so it called match slots, and I got here it says connection taken editor 0, none unknown, and it still accepts our ready check, so that seemed to fix all the bugs. Okay, so did I already do? Okay, we have this raycast texture. So I guess I'll we got a couple. Here you can see after the lobby we go through to the loading phase. And the loading phase is pretty simple. We don't need to worry about this stuff right now, since we just want to debug and get all the way through to the play phase as easily as possible. We'll just need to request the parameters, or we don't even really need to do that. I mean, in the final game we'll need to, but we already know the parameters since we just set them. Oh, but I guess the second player will need to request them, so that's fine. Yeah, so we'll get the parameters, then we just... Okay, so we are synchronizing loading because the server is in the loading phase, so it will expect another ready check. So we'll send the ready check, and then after that, we'll go through to success. And then we'll go through to the map generation scene, which is right here. And this one's a bit more complicated. But I mean, most of the stuff will be easy. We just create everything. And then here, this is like for our error checking. Yeah, but we had to do a couple ready checks, okay. So let's get the asset loading controller. Okay, so again, I'm just going to do a quick and kind of messy implementation of this. So first, let's figure out what states we need. Okay, so we need get parameters, get params weight. Okay, so that covers this. And then we would do this, but right now we have nothing to load, so we'll skip it. Just don't have to worry about errors. And then we just do the ready check. that's it. Okay, don't need that. This is the class I was looking for. Okay, so right now we don't actually receive the ready check back from the server, it looks like. It's easily fixed. Components, get, or register. Okay. Oops, it was global components. And okay, ready check broadcast. And then we gotta subscribe. And this message will give us the ready check message from the server. And basically the only thing we'll do here is if message equals our message type is lobby, then we'll set game controller equals new loading asset loading controller. Okay, and yeah, it's complaining because we don't create that class yet. Alright, I'm waiting for this so I can just generate the correct constructor we need. And so to make sure this works, I'm gonna just debug log loading started. Oh, that's not what I want to do. We want Unity engine. And so now when I press play at the very bottom, we should see loading started. And we do, good. Okay, so what now? Okay, let's see, how does this do it? We're gonna need to subscribe to this ready check, so I'll go ahead. Oh, we already get the parameters in the lobby scene actually. Okay, so that's fine. So here, really, just need this. Compares copy. What am I looking for? Copy from message. Okay, so yeah, this just sets the correct parameters to whatever's in this message. Alright, so yeah, we already have the parameters we want. So yeah, we don't need to ask for them here. So really all we have to do is this ready check. create the message here. I think we'll need to create a few more ready check messages, so let's look here and see. Well, here we just have asset loading, and I'll go ahead and create these two. So this is map gen, and then map check. Where is it? Okay, so asset, let's call it assets loaded. Oh, can I spell it? Map generated. Although most of these are not. What does it really matter? Map generated and map checked. Okay, so if message type equals assets loaded, then we'll just go right through to the map generation controller. Okay, that doesn't even exist yet. This will also subclass the auto controller, which we won't need now, but in the future I will, so might as well just add it. Okay, so that's fine. So I really don't even need these test states. So here we just call the Unity link. Send, what is it? Yeah, client send message. Okay, client ready check. And we'll say that we're ready and that the type is assets loaded. Map generation can use a lot of this. So let's spell map gen. And the only difference here is that in the map generation we have two different ready checks. So really, this is actually like an these are more, actually, I think about it, they're both more like error checks and not just ready checks. And we already have some special handling for that. So it'll probably be a good idea to use it. Let's look at the error check manager. Okay, so I don't know. I wonder if, can we just, I'm not sure if we can use this same class for it. Probably better not to. So let's just make a separate one that's like, I don't know, Loading. Loading error manager. Okay, well, yeah, we will need this, but not now. And the reason that it's not doesn't work the same way as the play is because the arrows can be sent anytime, but we actually only wait for everybody to be ready if we're in the loading phase on the server. So I think, yeah, how I'm doing it now is fine. Okay, so let's have a loading ready check. Okay, so so if we're synchronized, then we'll expect these ready checks in order. Yeah, and then if we're synchronized and somebody has an error, then it kicks everyone back out to the lobby. But we are not going to have to worry about that yet. I'm just making sure in my head that everything will be okay. This stuff, which I guess we will need to take care of. But I'm just worried about the ready checks right now. Okay. So I have the server controller. Oops. And we'll need this one ready check helper. Alright, it needs the game, I think. And then also, yeah, period. And so we'll also need, I guess, a loading state. And so let's create it here. This is an enumeration. Okay, so none. And then we have load assets, generate map, and check map. Okay. Okay, so I guess the loading ready checks manager, it is probably the most tied to the phase, so I think I'll have it go ahead and control when the phases change. Okay, and this is actually the main phase. But then other things like whatever controls or listens for errors, we'll just set the main phase to something else, and then I guess here this ready check manager would then change the loading phase, so that's fine. Now I think about it. Does anything else need to know about this loading phase, I wonder? I guess kind of, because we wouldn't want to give this information until this has been synchronized. So There we go. Oh, that's fine. So we actually call controller game components. Okay, loading phase. And something else this will need, I know, is also the client connections. Right. Okay, so now I think we're all set up. Oh, except there we go. So we'll listen to the main phase. Subscribe, new, simple listener. So on main phase change. Oh, it's not gonna let me create it. Oh, is that the problem? Yeah. So if main phase does not equal loading, then we'd set the loading phase to none, and also clear the ready check helper. Okay, so let's see what else. We can kind of copy some of this here. Okay, so server ready default. That could be true. And what that means is some of the ready checks, we also wait for more information from different messages before we would accept their ready status. So if you set this to true, then that means the server is just ready right away, that we don't have to wait for anything else. And then here is if something gets changed, but how do we handle that actually? Load error. I guess if somebody gets disconnected, we just keep on going through, and then they can catch up with us later. Yeah, so that's okay. Okay, so we'll need to send ready. Let's move this up to be a bit more organized. Okay, so how we do it is if this is the main phase, we want to make sure it's always in loading, and that this connection is validated, which means it's something we care about. Now the type here, we don't know just yet. Okay, so the type of ready check that we're waiting on depends on what the loading phase is. So ready check message. Okay, so it's not in there. The enumeration's actually outside, it's fine. Okay, so get wanted type. So then we switch the current state. Okay, so if it's load assets, then we want assets loaded. Then we want map generated, and lastly, if it's check map, we want map checked. And then anything else is 0. Okay. So wanted type equals get wanted type, and then if wanted type does not equal 0 and message type equals wanted type, okay, so then you could say ready check, what is it, ready check helper, set client ready, then we get the client for this connection, and then we just send either true or false depending on what they gave us. And this returns true if all clients are now ready. Okay, so how do we do this actually? Yeah, I guess we will clear. Okay, so if I guess we need to switch this loading phase again. But yeah, we also should, oh no, we'll just call get wanted type again. Because if we call it from this connections change, that we won't know it immediately anyway. So if we're in the assets loading phase, then all we do is set the loading phase to the generate map. And the same thing if we're in the generate map phase, then we set it to check map. But if we're in the check map phase, then loading is now complete, so we'd set loading phase state to none, and then we'd set the main phase state to what do we send it to actually? Okay, so this, yeah, we either go to the team or the play scene, and I think, yeah, we go to the team if it's a new game, and then play screen otherwise normally, but I guess you could also go to the results if the game is over. And the reason, yeah, it could be over from loading if you're loading into a game that's already started, so that's the problem here. But this is a server and not a client, so, and all this stuff is when we're synchronizing loading. Alright, but anyway, I think for now we'll just go ahead and go to the play scene because we don't have anything with a team building complete, and we mostly just want to test this. So, alright. And then we send the ready check message back. Alright, so let's, oh, I accidentally cut it instead of copying. There we go. And now I just need to create that new class, loading, ready check manager. Okay. I'm just taking a quick look to make sure everything's okay. I think that's all I need to do. Let's see, so the lobby parameters. So that needs to be accepted. Okay, so how I do this is you can get the lobby parameters right down here. You can get it at any time as long as we've received one. So yeah, that's fine, I think. Okay, and then it's cleared when the server stops. We might want to clear them other times too, like maybe when we re-enter the lobby from completing a game or something, but it's not super important right now. So we need to handle this type of thing. But I almost think at the moment I might not do anything with it because we haven't programmed enough of the actual game to know what this data will be yet. So yeah, I think we'll get to that later. But doing the ready checks is the main thing because that's what the server needs to progress to the phase in a normal manner. Okay, so anyway, let's go back to the client. Okay, so it sends map generated first. Okay, so we'll switch message type, and then when we receive the map generated back, we'll immediately send another message out that the map's been checked. And when we receive the go-ahead back from the server, oops. Then we can change the game controller to the play controller. Oh gosh, I can't spell controller either. What is it? Map, play sub controller. Okay, that's not how we do it actually. It's map controller. Okay, and then I think it just automatically goes to play sub controller, so that's fine. At some point we'll probably want to be able to have like a boolean in the constructor to tell it to go to team build or what, but oh, so the map controller. Alright, so it wants the subclass. Is that okay though? Yeah. Oh, it's the error. Okay, that's something else. So is everything ready to go? I guess one way to find out. Okay, so loading started, then we send assets loaded, but nothing happens. Why is that? Let's see, server controller, that's not it. Yeah, this is what I wanted. Okay, so the reason is, yeah, so I need to do something like this. If it's in loading, then we do Then we need to set the loading phase to load assets. Let's try it again. It's now... oh no, it got to the same point. On main phase change. Did I do that right? Yeah. I think I instantiated this on the server controller. So main phase is loading, valid connection, that should be fine. So let's see, maybe we print out this wanted type. This music's a bit too much for me right now. And see what this gives us. Okay, so we don't even get that far. Actually, yeah, I didn't subscribe to the ready check, did I? I thought that's the whole reason I copied from the lobby ready check, but I guess I missed it. Yeah, so we need to register from this ready check broadcast. Oh yeah, so now it got all the way through the play phase because we know because this match phase is intro and the server phase is play. Cool. Alright, so now the real question is, if I change this to another player, we're gonna expect someone else to connect. And it's gonna get stuck there now. Because now you can see the connections. This one's open, and that will prevent any ready checks from succeeding because it knows that a player needs to be there. So we'll test that by building a second player, and you might remember this from our previous game. Let's see. We had to do this at pretty much any time we wanted to test anything. This game we won't need to, but we do need to make sure that the game works a little bit. And I just realized I forgot to put the scene in here, so I think it's going to give me an error once it figures this out, but oh, it doesn't actually, but I don't think it will run. Let's try one more time. Actually, that's too big. I'm not going to be able to see anything in the editor. So, 102.47.68, that's fine. Yeah, that's what I'm used to. Okay, so it's already tried to connect. Actually, I think that might cause a problem because... oh, we actually went all the way through the first try. Wow. Cool. So you can see here... let's actually look and see exactly what happened. hey Ricardo, good to see you. So we validated the host, and then taken, then open unknown. Here we got another validation. Yeah, so that says taken player 2 with connection 1. Pretty good. I'm actually pretty happy because this test worked the first time. How are you doing? Okay, so now we see the connection status is editor connected and player 2 connected. They both ready check. So that's loaded, goes twice because the server gets 2 ready checks. And then it gets all the way through the intro. Alright. So now we can test or take that off our list. Okay, so we need to test this reconnection. But we're not quite ready to do it, I don't think. And one of the main problems is that through all this, I kind of broke a lot of our play scene. And so I want to try to fix it. And also, I'm going to change the way the map works. So I think we'll do that for a bit. Oh, you have a test tomorrow? Yeah, I'm sure it's always a little nerve-wracking, but I'm sure you'll do fine. Alright, so we had this cool system where like the mod authors could make a map with any different type, or not type, but let's zoom in on it on the editor. Where is it? Or does it not show up? Yeah, I guess it is really broken, but you could raycast and it would be able to pick out which spot you're pointing toward based on the color. So mod editors could have any shape of space they wanted on the map. And it is kind of cool, but one thing I really want to do with this game is have abilities that can actually change the map. And that's going to be very difficult to do and have it look nice. And let mods be able to control that with this system. So I'm going to actually change it so we just have like hexagon blocks for the map just by default. It'll be kind of like Minecraft except hexagons. You're hyped because you find out this Friday's the last day of having math. Oh wow, that is nice. I don't blame you. Math is kind of interesting, but I always hated it in school, so... but anyway, well, I think we'll get started. So one thing we need to do is... I should have done this beforehand because I'm very rusty with Blender, but I'm gonna try to make a hexagon. Oh yeah, because of the bots. I'm not sure if it would have censored that or not, actually. Yeah, while it's loading, I just put the screen up. She doesn't teach, but she makes the test hard? That's strange. Alright, so let's see if I can figure this out. so I know we can delete this. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay, so what we want to do is create cube. Okay, no, that doesn't actually work. I think I can, I'm pretty sure there's a way you can do this. Maybe a circle. Radius. Can't you like set the number of... I want to get edit mode and that's viewing. Okay, so yeah, I know that there's a way that you can set the number of vertices, so if I could set it to 6, that'd be exactly what we need. She doesn't teach, she just made us, oh, presentation, yeah. That's difficult when teachers do that. Alright, so let's see. Create... Oh, right here, vertices. So we want to go to 6. Okay, that's perfect. And then change back to edit mode. Okay, so yeah, it's flat. And I'm not sure, like, the height and size of the hexagons in the final game, but for now, we'll just go easy. So I want to select this face. Is that not? Oh, I guess it is selected because that little dot. And then I need to extrude. Is that not gonna work for me? I thought you could extrude faces. I'm pretty sure you can, but I'm doing something wrong. Did I need to select it? And extrude up. Okay, I guess that works. I want it to be straight. Okay, there we go. So now I just need to put faces on both sides. Is she offended? Oh, that's a shame. Okay, so let me see. How would I do this? Inset. I know that there's some way you can build a face by clicking on the vertices. Oh, I'm sorry, Ricardo, that's not fun when you have a teacher that doesn't respect you. Oh, here, make edge. That's exactly what I wanted, thank you. And then select all of these. Oh, except now I want... Okay, I want to deselect. I deselect all as A. Need to learn the keybinds for sure. And then we make face. Okay. The only problem here is that you always want to try to keep everything with 4 vertices, but I'm not even sure if that's possible with a hexagon. I think the best way might be just to cut here and make a bunch of triangles. I wonder. Best way to create hexagon model. Well, this is just a test. I'm not sure. Well, this definitely won't be how it'll be in the end, so we'll just... That's not gonna work. I guess it's a knife. Okay, that doesn't work right. I think I probably need to press enter. So enter, confirm. There we go. Now I'm gonna make sure that this didn't do something weird. So I'll select just this vertice. Okay, it's good. I wanted to make sure that it was that they combined that vertice and it didn't make like two separate ones that were very close together. Okay, so click this one and go there. And again, that's all of them, so good. Now we need to cut this side. Okay, there we go. I think that got the top one. I don't even know what that was. And press K again to cut this last one. And select the vertice and then just move it around. Good. Okay. Now let's see, I want to view normals. How do you do that? Show. Don't remember how to see the normals. I guess I'll worry about that if it's a problem. That's kind of sad, Storm. But yeah, if she didn't do a good job, then the reason. Okay, well that's both pointing up, so I think it's okay. But in Unity, you always need the normals to be pointing outwards, otherwise the shaders are not happy. Okay, and I made it so 0 is on the bottom. That'll make it kind of easy to align correctly. So let's save it. Alright, it's already here. So test hex. Let's do that, right? So let's bring it into, yeah, we don't need this anymore. I thought I just saved it. Assets, test, resources, models. Oh, it's in the, didn't want to save it in that folder. So get rid of that. I don't know why the test hex. Maybe I deleted the wrong thing. Folder. Alright. So it might also be nice if we like had a different color for each side so we know the orientation. I think I'll wait to do that off camera because, yeah, I don't want to mess with it now. Oh, it's going good, Storm. Thanks for asking. Okay, so now we see for sure this looks very strange, and it's because the normals are reversed, which is what I was afraid of. And so you see the inside. Hopefully I can fix this quickly. I know that there was some... Let me see if I remember. I know that there's some command to do it, but I don't remember it. Okay, so what's this? Look, Blender, reverse, normals. Okay, so what you do is you press W and that does not look right. It said W then 0, but doesn't seem like... Yeah, that's not gonna work, is it? Oop, don't want to move it. Control Z. Object. How much years? I mean, how many years have I been making games? Oh, how many years did it not go easy? I would say I probably... well, I started out with like a scenario editor for this strategy game, but so the first time I actually programmed was an RPG maker, and all those games were pretty bad. I would say I probably didn't really know how to program that well until I actually went to school for programming, so probably about 3 years or so I just didn't. I mean, before I did that, so. But I mean, you always have challenges, so like all this networking in Unity has given me lots of headaches. Okay, so you can say Control N to recalculate normals. Let's see if that works for me. Reload startup file, that's not what I want. This must be really old. Okay, here's one from 2015. Yeah, mesh. Maybe we could just search. Is that something I want to do? No. Oh. That's something I want to do for sure. I press H for help. Find out which direction normal is. You can enable the normal and the mesh display tab. Okay. History. Yeah, you can see I'm very rusty with this, but I'm gonna need to know because I plan to make a bunch of models for this game. Usually I just do 2D art, which I feel pretty comfortable with. Thanks, because your course is 3 years and university 1's 3 years. I'm sure you'll learn a lot during all that, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. Options panel, shading. Oh, come on. Why did they have to change the keybinds on me? Control N calculates normals. really don't think it does. Okay, so I had to be in mesh editing mode. I guess that makes sense. Alright, but they everything wasn't selected. So let's select. Okay, well, I was gonna see if I could select all, but it's not showing up there. But that's fine. Okay, so control N. There we go. Alright, thanks for bearing with me. Alright, so I want to move this in there. So now I'm not sure which one's the old one. Okay, that was the old one. Okay, now we can see it looks how we expect. Okay, so good. Alright. How big is it actually? It looks 2 units across. And then if we duplicate it. Okay, it's 1 unit high, so that's fine. Alright. Gummy bears sound good. I haven't had those in probably months. Okay. So now, of course, working with hexagons is a bit more complicated than what's it called? Just squares, but we can actually handle them nearly the same way. Let me see. Okay, so one way you can think of hexagons is there's like a column, a row, and then a height position instead of X, Y, and Z. And there's a really good page I found that explains it. And I know this is probably, I mean, if you're interested, you can go to redblobgames.com and you can find this article, but this is basically explains the math I'll be using. Okay, but what we want now is where it's talking about storing some map storage. So I think we will just store these things in a simple array, and the mod authors can decide if they care about having these wasted spots in them. You don't need them in almost a year or two. Yeah, they're just a rare treat, I guess. Okay, so field space. Okay, so we still have this, of course. Actually, I think it'd just be the world position now. Oh, excuse me about the sneeze. Oh, sorry, my allergies are horrible. Anyway, world position. So we don't need this outgoing paths anymore because since everything is just arranged in a grid of hexagons, we will I mean, it's obviously obvious that you can move to any hexagon adjacent. We'll still have this in case there's hexagons with certain special statistics. And then the prototype also... I guess we can actually change this to... It's not really a space anymore, it's more of a block. So, yeah, I think we actually will call them block and not hex, because a hex is more like, I don't know, a position, and then the block is the actual object. At least that makes sense to me. Okay, so one problem here is that we're actually going to have like a 3D map, so the borders here that will be unused are even more pronounced, because I mean we never use like an actual cube, but still this array is how much? 6 by 6, so that's 36, and if it was 6 by 6 by 6, how much is that actually? Well, that starts to get kind of big, but I mean, in today's computers, it's 216. I guess one problem is every space does have this list of stats. And we can actually know this well positioned just by its place in the field. I wonder, a better way to do this is maybe not have the field block be an object itself, and instead the field would just have like a 3D integer, and this would be like block prototypes, and then it would also have a dictionary of hex positions to field block, and then this would be any extra data about a specific block. I think this is actually how Minecraft does it. Not that we have to copy it necessarily, but so then any block that has like special statistics would go here in the block data. Actually, should be a little bit different. Okay, so this, I don't think I did this on stream, but I made a separate statistic class because mods might want to have either a string or a float statistic. And then this knowable value is like a special value that we might not know because it's hidden from us by another player. Alright, Ricardo. I'll hope to see you tomorrow. Have a good night. So for instance, if we're the source of this knowledge, meaning we control it, then we'd always know it, but if it's learned, then that means we asked another player for it, but it might not be up to date. Thanks, you too. And then of course unknown means we have no idea what the knowledge is, so that's the reason I added that. Hope that makes sense. So yeah, I think this is how we'll store the map now. We actually don't need this at all anymore, do we? It does bring up a good point, trying to figure out how we'll raycast on the map. I guess the easiest way would still just be to have these hexagons have whoa. Oh, okay, well, there we go. hexagons have a mesh collider, but I mean for each one, that would get to be a lot of colliders. Well, if we need to change it later down the road, we always can. But yeah, we don't need this raycast collider at all anymore. Okay, so this hex position, we're going to need to also, if we're going to use it, like here we use it as the key in a dictionary, we have to provide certain other classes, or certain other methods, I mean, namely the get hash code. And if you ever change get hash code, you need to change equals and vice versa. And I'm just going to copy do I not have int vector 3? I guess not. That's a shame. I was going to say I'll just copy the int vector 3 implementation of the hash code, but I guess I don't have it. And I didn't want to use just the plain int vector 3 because it would just say XYZ, and I want the row, column, and height. In fact, I think that might be a little more. Explicit right there. Huh. Okay, I guess I don't have it in vector 3. I thought I made it. Hash code. I wonder. Yeah, see, hash codes are annoying to write, so I didn't want to have to make it myself. Okay, let's see. 3 int hash code. Maybe that will just come up real quick. Alright, so this, let's just use this as a default. Okay. Column and row, and if you don't understand what this is, like, that's okay. I don't know exactly what this math does either, but a hash code is supposed to transform these values into some specific integer, and I mean ideally you'd want every combination here to transform into a unique integer, but I mean, that's obviously impossible because you're transforming 3 integers into 1 integer, but we'll try to get as close to as we can. And I guess here is like the power operator, and then here is a shift operator, which basically, if you think of every number as a row of bytes, it would cycle the bytes 32 positions to the left, is what this does. So yeah, I don't know the methodology behind this, but we'll go with it. So, and obviously this equals is just an equality tester, so hex or let's see, hexpose other equals object as hexpose, and then if, oh yeah, that doesn't work for structures, does it? Okay, so how I have to do it is like this. If object is hexpose, oops. Okay, and then if it's not, then we'll just return false. And then I'll make another nicer version of the equals that just tests 2 hex positions. And here we just want to make sure that the columns equal each other and the row equal each other and the heights equal each other. That's not what I wanted. Height equals other dot height. You might not have, I mean, you might have also never seen this read only, and that just means that these values can only be changed in a constructor. And I actually think it's bad that Unity doesn't, or for instance in Unity you can go like this, vector 2, oh come on. Oh jeez, I can't type. So you can create a vector 2 and then say like vector 2.x equals vx plus 1. I actually think this is a bad idea for structures because they're just kind of, structures are complicated and you can lose track of them easily. And if you do this, you might not actually change the value of the vector you expect. So it's much better for all structures to have read-only variables in my opinion, but I'm sure Unity has a good reason why they did it the way they did. Here we'll return equals x pose object, and then we can also copy a bunch of these to help with us. I don't think we need that, but we can probably use this. I don't even know actually if this would be useful, but definitely want the equals at least. So these are operators, and it just defines what happens when you type equals equals. And this one adds 2 and subtracts 2, and then this one is just like an inversion. So we actually want so call height plus b dot height, and I'll just copy this, and we'll need to flip it to using subtract. Here I just need to add a negative in front of each. Alright, so now we got some of the busy work out of the way. And we can safely use... Oh, actually I think there's one more thing we have to do. Yeah, we want to implement this equatable. Which we just did actually. Here, because we just had to have this equals. And I think that's good. Okay, so now we should probably have a way to convert this to a vector 3. Let's just say 2 world, and like if we need to scale this or offset it, we can do it outside. I think it explains how to do that here. You can see there's a bunch of algorithms that it actually provides, which is really nice. So a lot of these will be useful, I think. so this is what we want. Okay, well this... No, that's not what I wanted. I wanted it to give me like the world position. This is, we actually have flat topped, so that's good to know. Okay, and also one interesting thing about hexagons is the way these coordinates work is that you have the column that goes this way and the row that goes down, and then this third, you can see here the red, green, and blue off axes. The third one is always just the sum of the other two, and sometimes that's useful. Again, if you're confused, I'd recommend reading that website because it's very good. So to axial to cube. Okay, so it just calls it y, I guess. I don't really know. I was trying to think of what I should call the method to get the third axis, but I guess I'll just call it third. Or actually I think I call it sum usually, so. So public int sum, and that is negative column plus row. And the reason this has to be this is because when the sum of column, row, and this third coordinate always is 0. But it's not going to give me an easy way or the formula to calculate like to this flat position in the world, is it? X to pixel. Oh, maybe this is it. It's useful to view size and spacing diagram at the top page. Okay, yeah, well, we just looked at that. So we actually have flat top, I think. Oh no, do we have pointy top? Yeah, it is pointy top right now. Okay, so that's fine. I guess we should decide which one we like better. I guess it doesn't make much difference. One of them is kind of nicer here and not as nice there, but I think we'll just go with pointy top. Doesn't make, like I said, it's not that important. So where was I? Field of view, okay. So axial coordinates. Just kind of copy this. Of course ours will be slightly more involved because we also will have the height. Okay, so and the size, that's like, I guess that's the radius. I guess we could just have float radius and float height. Okay, and this square root of 3, we're going to need that a lot, so I'm going to have a constant up here. Let's say constant float square root of 3 equals SQRT. Oh, let me do that? No. Okay, so let's do a constant public static read-only float. And then Q is column, and then row divided by 2. Alright, this needs to be a float actually. So radius times 3 halves times the row. Okay, and the height. Guess we could just call it Z. It's basically just the height actually, now that I think about it. So we'll say height times the height. It's a bit confusing. Why is that white? I mean white. Okay, well, it says field, I guess. I think that the highlighting is confused. So that's... Okay, so hex. That looks better, and then we return a vector 3. But I think, yeah, we actually flip around the the coordinates. Because of the way Unity does it, because the y coordinate points upwards in Unity and z is back. So let's see, we've still got about 10 minutes. Guess we could start spawning the blocks. I guess let's see what this error is first. Oh yes, we don't need that anymore. Change this to block prototypes. Put that right here. Okay, and yeah, it has the statistics. Name. It's like the default statistics, so yeah, well, we'll worry about it later, but on the field we'll want to keep the number of field blocks as small as possible, so probably if the block does not have any statistics that are different than the prototype, or they're all unknown, then we want to delete it out of here, but we can deal with that later. Okay. we don't need this anymore. We still will need the mouse pick raycaster, but how we do it will work a little different. This is the monster model loader. So I guess we'll just make something to go ahead and spawn in some block prefabs. And we can probably copy this and use it as a base. Okay, so alright, we'll just use just a single prefab for everything right now. What's wrong there? But we're using Unity Engine. Oh, it's because this isn't a mono behavior. Okay. So let's work a little different. Got the battle field. So we're going to need to loop through every block on the field. Actually be nice if we could store this as a 1D array, and I think that's what it'll do actually. We'll just know the public int. We'll know the row size and the column size. Let's just name this to map to be shorter. Length. Okay, so then we'll have the hex position. I think we're going to need to do this a lot, so I think in the hex position I might have a way for it to transform back and forth. Static. Hex pose from fields map. Index. Okay, so int. I guess one slice size would be the field column size times field row size. Is this actually the way we want to store things? It might be better to actually, instead of the column size, we'd actually store the slice size itself. And obviously the slice size is like one slice of the map with all the hexagons at the same height. Okay, so now we know the slice size. So if we return a new, let's see, I guess 2D, or let's say index 2D is index modulo field slice size, and then the height is index divided by field slice size. And if you've never seen this modulo, it divides index by slice size and gives you the remainder. And in programming, when you divide two integers, it just gives you the integer part of the division and discards the remainder. So basically what we've done here is we have the whole part of the division in height and then the remainder here. And that lets you know, well, basically I just found the height and then the 2D index for this position. And from the 2D index, we can get the column this way. It's index 2D modulo field row size, and then the row is the same thing. And so now we just return new hex position, column row height, and I'll do the other way around. Except I guess we don't need to make it static. Let's just say to field map index. Yeah, we'll still need the field in this. So we can just work backwards, really. Return. So it's the hex, or it's height. Oh, come on. Times field slice size plus the row times the row size times or yeah, just plus the column. Okay, and actually now that I think about it, maybe we should rename this height to slice. That makes a little more sense. Well, height was fine too, but now we don't. Now this function's not as confusing because we didn't have two different heights. And also this messes up, matches up. So yeah, I think that's a better name. Okay, so done with that. So now I got hex position equals, let's do this, hex equals hex pose from field map index, and we can send it the battlefield and I for the index. And now we just have hex to world, and we know the radius, actually the radius and the height are both 1, so we'll just do that for now. Layer mask, we'll just remove that. Yeah, I'll remove that for now. Don't have movement yet, although eventually you will be able to move blocks around. That's basically the whole reason I changed this, because I want monsters to be able to move blocks and change the type of terrain. Alright, so it's about time to go, but I'd really like to test. Oops. Yes, we don't even need this importer anymore. Alright, and then let's see. Where's the battle generator? Okay, so yeah, we don't... This doesn't work this way anymore. So field dot map. It's new. Okay, so let's make a 3x3x3 map. So 9, and field dot row size is 3 then, and field slice size is, oh actually it's 27, so there we go. Okay, well I guess I've got to go, so I guess we'll do this tomorrow, unfortunately. But we got a lot done today. I'm glad that we finished a lot of the netcode and started on some more fun actual game design. So tomorrow we'll do some more on the map, and I'll get monsters working again. And maybe we'll actually do some pathfinding or something like that. So I'll be back tomorrow at 5 Eastern, just like normal. And I hope to see you there. Thanks everybody for coming by and watching. Bye bye.